Thank you for tuning in to the one and only Track and Field Bleacher Report. I'm your host, the Trackhead here, coming to you with a recap of this weekend's NCAA Division I Women's Track and Field action. We had a lot of action going on this week. We had some fast times. We had a lot of people opening up in their primary events. We had a lot of people improving on their previous marks. So there was some good marks put down. There was some good times put down on the track and some good marks put down on the field on the women's side. So we're just going to jump into it. The women's 60, Aleia Hobbs from LSU, she PR'd running 7:14, which is a great PR for her. Her previous PR in 2017 was 7:18. So Aleia Hobbs from LSU, she's showing that she's in good shape right now. And her teammate Mikiah Briscoe last weekend had ran like 7:17. So Aleia Hobbs is showing that she's right there with Mikiah Briscoe, and so they're going to be definitely going to be some two that's going to be one to watch out for the women's 60 this coming season. Also from LSU, Kortnie Johnson, she PR'd this past weekend running 7:19. Her previous PR in 2017 was 7:22, so she's now the number 3rd collegiate on the rankings right now. LSU is ranked 1, 2, and 3 in the women's 60. So we have Aleia Hobbs at 7:14, Mikiah Briscoe at 7:17, and Kortnie Johnson at 7:19. So LSU is looking nasty right now in the women's 60. It would be, it's going to be exciting to see if they can hold on, because the season is still young. The season is very young. So if they can hold on and, and be ready to rock and roll when it comes in March, to see if these 3 individuals can run faster than what they've run so far in January. If they can run faster than what they've run in January, then they definitely have a chance at potentially sweeping and coming 1, 2, or 3 at nationals. But there's going to be some other runners that's going to have a lot to say about that as the season progresses. Rebecca Smith from Clemson, she PR'd this past weekend running 7:26. Her previous best was 7:31 in 2017. From the University of Georgia, Kate Hall, she PR'd. Well, actually, she tied her PR of 7:28. So she tied her PR running 7:28. Kate Hall has been having a really good season this year. She's jumped very far in the long jump, and she's won both of the 60-meter races that she's run this season. Kate Hall has beaten her competition in both of her 60-meter finals that she's run this season. So Kate Hall is having a good season. We're going to have to watch out for Kate Hall as the season progresses. From Florida State, the freshman that I mentioned as an impact freshman, she showed up. Keturah Seymour, she PR'd this past weekend running 7:31. So Keturah Seymour, I was curious to see how she was going to do. I was wondering, what made her choose Florida State, because it wasn't a lot going on at Florida State previously in the last couple of years, especially on the women's side. But Keturah Seymour is showing that, they have something going on down there, and she wants to be a part of it. So she's showing that, Florida State has a good thing going. So Keturah Seymour, the freshman from Florida State, we'll see how she does as the season progresses. From USC, University of Southern California, Kai Westbrook opened up running a 7:31, which was converted for altitude this past weekend. She ran 7:29, but they converted it to 7:31. So Kai Westbrook shows that she's ready to rock and roll. Also from Clemson, Tori Robinson ran 7:33 this past weekend. And then also from the University of Southern California, USC, the freshman Twanisha Terry ran 7:33 this past weekend. So we had some good times put down in the women's 60. So people are showing that they're ready to rock and roll. A couple of the freshmen are being listed here. So some of the freshmen are showing that they came in and really had a good introduction to the collegiate scene, and they're going to be ones to watch out as the season goes on. The women's 200, it seems like the women's 200 is starting to get faster and faster. A lot of people are starting to run the 200, so the women's 200 times are starting to trickle in. And we had Danielle Whyte from Texas A&M. She shot to the number 1 mark of 23:10. So Danielle Whyte is not too far off of her PR. Her PR indoor is 23 flat, and so she's run 23:10 in her first 200 of the season. And so Danielle Whyte looks like she'll be one to watch out for. She'll definitely probably break 23 seconds indoor in her next couple of outings, and so we'll see. This 23:10 definitely will qualify her for national, so I don't think that she has to worry about not making it to national. So now she can just focus on putting down some quality training and putting down quality marks as the season progresses. From University of Kentucky, Jasmine Camacho-Quinn. I've been mentioning her a lot. So Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, she had an indoor PR of 23:27 this past weekend, which was a good run for her. She is now the number 3 collegiate athlete in the women's 200 rankings. Morgan Mukes from Kansas. She's a freshman. She ran a PR of 23:35 this past weekend, and that was so impressive because Morgan came into college only having a overall PR of 24:51 in high school. So Morgan Mukes dropped over a second, and then in her first outing in the 200 ran 23:35. So that's very, very impressive. So it seems like she was undertrained in high school, and now it seems like she's in college, and she's going to be one to watch out for because she's transitioning very well to college. She's taking on to the training at college in college very well, and so like I said, to run a whole second faster than your overall PR in high school in your very first 200 of the season as a freshman shows that you found a good combination that works. So I didn't know much about Morgan Mukes coming out of high school. Obviously, she only had ran 24:51, which is average for a high school runner. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest. Most of the high school top high school runners run like 23 seconds coming out of high school. So for her to run 24:51 in high school, and then get to college, her very first indoor meet, run 23:35 shows that she has a very high upside. So we're gonna continue watching Morgan Mukes as the season goes on. From USC, Kendal Ellis, she ran 23:36. She was getting some speed work in. This was her season debut. Kendal Ellis is your top 400 returner from last year, and so she opened her season running the 200. And she looks like she is in pretty good shape, running 23:36, converted this past weekend at the University of New Mexico. Her teammate also, Anna Cockrell, ran 23:45. From the University of Iowa, Brittany Brown ran 23:54, and her teammate Brianna Gilroy from Iowa ran 23:58. So again, we had a lot of times going on in the 200, and I feel like as the weeks go on, we're going to have a lot more times put down in the women's 200. The women's 200 is going to be a really exciting event this year. I feel like it could be a surprise winner, but we'll see as the season goes on. The women's 400 is still early in the season, so the women's 400 is an event that will grow and will get better and better. The marks will get better and better as the season goes on. It's still only one person so far has broken 53 seconds, which is Brianna Gilroy from Iowa. She ran 52:95 this past weekend, and who is now the leader of the 400 in the rankings. But as the season goes on, probably this weekend and the weekend after that, we'll have more people running 52. A lot of the top runners like Kendal Ellis hasn't run the 400. Also, Sydney McLaughlin didn't run the open 400. Sharika Barnett from Florida has run the open 400. So a lot of the top runners have run other events, and they haven't opened up in the 400 yet. But so I expect the 400 to get faster as the season goes on. And usually, you don't start off your season running your very best 400 the very first time you run it, because that's something that you have to get accustomed to and just get your body used to as the season progresses. From Oklahoma, Amy Pepe, she ran 53:24, which is a indoor PR. She's now your number 2 400 runner of the season. From the University of Southern California, USC, Kyra Constantine, the sophomore at USC, opened up with a 53:31 converted indoor PR for her. She's now your number 3 400 runner for the season. From Texas A&M, the sophomore, Jaevin Reed, ran 53:56. She's one of the top returning 400 runners. And so she's run 53 these past 2 weekends, like 53 mid these past 2 weekends. So I expect Jaevin Reed, as the season progresses, for her to get faster. She's now your number 5 collegiate amongst the rankings. In the women's 800, Danae Rivers, she was one that I mentioned from Penn State. She was one that I mentioned as a top runner in the 800, and also she's a top runner in the mile, in the 1500. She opened up this weekend with 2:03:13, which is an indoor PR for her. So she's now the number 1 collegiate right now. A lot of the top 800 runners haven't opened up, but Danae, she was one of the top ones, so she has opened up, and Danae is showing that she's in good shape, and Danae may make a bid for the 800. I kind of felt before the season, like Danae was a better miler. She had a better shot for a championship or to place high on the in the mile, but you know the 800 she might make a bid for it this year. Jasmine Frey from Texas A&M, she opened up in her the indoor collegiate record holder opened up at home with a 2:04.97. She's now your number 2 collegiate of the season. From Sanford, Carissa Nelson, she's the defending champion in the mile. She ran a 2:05.87. She's now your number 4 collegiate in the 800. So Carissa Nelson is getting some speed work in, doing an off event in the 800. I'm sure she'll have an impressive mile when she opens up in the mile in the next few weeks. So again, the women's 800, just like the 400, the times, you know, you have to grow into the event as the season goes on. Usually your first couple of 800s are not going to be your fastest 800 of the season. So I expect these times to get faster and faster. But I was really impressed with Danae Rivers. Like I said, I felt like she probably would have been stronger in the mile this year. But opening up with a 2:03 shows that she might probably run 2:01 or 2 flat as the season progresses. So the collegiate record may be in jeopardy. And you know, Jasmine Frey, the indoor collegiate record holder, running 2:04, which is a good time. I like that time from her. And then we still have Sammy Watson from Texas A&M, who we're gonna have to keep an eye out for. I saw when she ran the 400 last week, she looked like she had cramped up, or I don't know if she pulled up in the first 100 meters of her running the 400. So I don't know what the status is of Sammy Watson. Hopefully it was just a little cramp and just a little nag or a little injury, nothing serious. That hopefully not a season-ending injury or anything that's going to take her out of the game for a while. So we'll see. Hopefully in the next few weeks, Sammy Watson can get back on the track, because she showed that she was already in really great shape. So I was loving to see what she was going to be able to do this year in the 800. So we'll keep an eye out for that. So if you guys didn't know, Sammy Watson had a little something happen last week in the 400 when she ran it at home. But we'll keep an eye out. We'll keep you posted to see what happens with her as the season progresses. The women's 60-meter hurdles, this event just continues to get deeper and deeper and faster as the years go on. Dior Hall from USC, she opened up this past weekend running the converted 796 at the University of New Mexico. Her previous PR was 801, which she set in 2016. So she didn't PR in 2017, but she got back on the track now. And in her very first outing in the 60-meter hurdles, she ran a 794, but they converted it to 796. So she is now your season leading collegiate in the women's 60-meter hurdles. Jasmine Camacho-Quinn from the University of Kentucky, she PR'd running an 8 flat this past weekend. She is now your number 2 performer of the season. So Jasmine Camacho-Quinn is showing very early that she is one to be reckoned with. She dropped a really good 200 time, and she's run really consistent and really fast early on in the 60-meter hurdles. So Jasmine Camacho-Quinn shows that she's going to be one to watch out for. She's one of the top hurdlers, returning hurdlers this year, and she shows that she's in better shape than she was in years prior. From Georgia Tech, Janine Williams, she's continuing to make improvements. She ran 8:02, which is a huge PR for her. Her previous PR was set 2 weeks ago. She PR'd 2 weeks in a row. Her previous PR was 8:18 from last weekend, and then she ran even faster this current weekend, running 8:02. So Janine Williams from Georgia Tech, we're going to have to keep an eye out for Janine Williams, and hopefully, with her PR and back-to-back weekends, hopefully it doesn't stop here. Hopefully they can slow her down a little bit, and she could be ready to run and PR, because she's going to have to PR in order to make the podium at nationals. Hopefully they will have her ready when it counts, and she's not doing all of the damage early on in the season. But for her to not have been one of the top hurdlers coming into the season, she is now amongst the top hurdlers right now as at the beginning of the season. And hopefully, I don't know much about her, so I don't know what to expect from her, but I just hope that with her PR and back-to-back weekends, 2 weekends in a row, hopefully she'll be ready to rock and roll when the season progresses, and when it really matters. From USC, Anna Cockrell, she opened up her season with an 8:04 converted time, which is now the U.S. number 4 collegiate this year. Danae Marshall improved her performances of the season. She ran 8:12, which is now the U.S. number 5. She's from LSU, Danae Marshall. So she's improved her season's rankings. From the University of Arkansas, Peyton Chadwick, she ran 8:14 this past weekend. From the University of Texas, she was one of the top hurdlers that were coming into the season. She opened up with the 8:16 Rochelle Burton from the University of Texas, so she looks like she's in really good shape, and we'll see how she does as the season goes on. From the University of Southern California, USC, she was mentioned as an impact freshman this current season, and she opened up with the 8:17 converted time. Chanel Brissett from USC. So Chanel Brissett is showing that she's in good shape and she's ready to rock and roll. She's off her PR a few hundreds, but I expect her to run faster than that as the season progresses. From North Carolina State, Gabrielle Cunningham ran 8:18. Also, a freshman from Texas Tech, Keturah Harris ran converted 8:19, and also from the LSU, Mikiah Briscoe went back to the hurdles and she ran an 8:17 this past weekend. So the times for the women's 60-meter hurdles is definitely come rolling in. And I expect them to get faster and faster as the season goes on. It's no clear favorite yet. In the hurdles, I feel like anybody can win on any given day, but for Dior Hall to run 7:96 in her very first race of the season, usually someone who runs a 7:90 in their very first race is probably the clear favorite as the season goes on. But it's so many other talented hurdlers out there right now, and it's going to be an exciting season for the women's 60-meter hurdle. So we'll watch as the season progresses. The women's 4x4, we had some really good times put down this past weekend. We had a good battle between Florida and Kentucky this past weekend, with Florida getting the edge, running 3:31.17. Kentucky running right behind them, 3:31.65. It was a really good race, a back and forth battle between Kentucky and Florida at the University of Clemson meet. And Kentucky put Sydney McLaughlin on second leg actually this weekend, and that worked out well for them. I think that they should keep Sydney McLaughlin on second leg only to keep Kentucky in contention, because if they save her for anchor leg, I think that they may fall behind and she has to get around too many people to try to get to the leaders. So putting her second leg actually gives her an advantage because she's closer to the leaders and she's able to run unimpeded. And indoor, you need to be in front. You don't need to be behind indoor, because you don't need to try to have to get around 3 or 4 different runners, because that's going to slow your time down. So I think that that's a good strategy for Kentucky to put Sydney McLaughlin on second leg and allow her to hopefully be in contention and allow her to strike early. But Kentucky, I think they have some room for improvement, because their anchor leg split like 53.9, almost 53.8. Close to 54 seconds. If they can work on that anchor leg, getting down to like at least 52, then maybe that they could probably run like 3:29, 3:30. But Florida also has some room for improvement. Florida put down a really good, strong 4x4 with Sharika Barnett anchoring in like 50 point. She closed 3 seconds off of. She got the baton almost 3 seconds behind and caught Kentucky, and was able to pass Kentucky in the last, within the last 100 to 50 meters. So that was a really impressive, but also it was only those two. Those two were the top two schools in the race. So if Florida gets in a race where there's other schools that are in front of them, and Sharika Barnett will have to go around several runners, that can also slow Florida down. So Florida may have to look at adjusting their strategy a little bit when it comes time to running against multiple top schools, so that they are able to not lose contention and not put Sharika Barnett so far behind where she can't strike, or there's other runners in front of her that's also running well and she can't really get around them. So that can slow Florida's time down. So I feel like Florida has room to improve. I feel like Florida can also run about 3:28, 3:29. If they strategize right, if they can get some of their middle runners to run 52 seconds in the middle, that can kind of put her in a better position. But the only way that they will run that fast with other top schools is if their middle runners split 52 seconds, and they can put her in a better position, because she can't be in fourth getting the baton in fourth and then trying to run the season's best time for the school. That's not going to work. Sorry, I went down a rabbit hole. Also, this past weekend, Purdue, they ran 3:33. So Purdue is showing that they have a good team, they have a good squad, and they're going to be one to watch out for. Baylor ran 335. Alabama ran 335 as well. University of Oklahoma ran 336, and Texas A&M ran 336. So the top schools are putting out some good 4x4s. We still have USC and Oregon, who I feel like are going to be probably the top 2 schools of the season. They haven't really put their 4x4s out there, and I mean Oregon hasn't run a 4x4, and I don't think USC ran their 100% A squad this past weekend at New Mexico. So I expect within the next couple of weeks we'll see those teams put out a 4x4, and I think that'll be those will be the top schools between USC, Florida, Kentucky, and Oregon. I feel like those will be your top 4 by the time the end of the season rolls around. In the women's mile, Edna Kurgat, she stepped down from the long distance events and she ran the mile this past weekend at home. She ran a converted 435. So she ran it at altitude. I think it was like 440 something, 441, and they converted it to like 435 because it was done at altitude. But she's now your top miler of the season. But most of the top milers haven't run yet. So they'll run faster than 435 as the season goes on, and the Kurgan wouldn't be in the mile at NC. She'll be in the 5K for sure. So I'm not expecting her to run the mile at NC's, but that's a good run at home. Also from Arizona, Claire Green, she's ran 439.74. She's now your number 2 runner of the season. So Claire Green from Arizona, that's a good run for her, and we'll see if she can improve on that as the season goes on. The women's 3K, it was only one impressive time that was run this past weekend, and it was really impressive. She did it at home. Erin Finn from Michigan, she opened up in the 3K with an 8:58.69 PR, which is her previous PR was 9:01. So now she is your second collegiate amongst for the season, right behind Ellen Apira from New Hampshire. So Erin Finn, she's showing that she's in good shape. So it's showing that, the 5K and the 3K are really going to be exciting events with Carissa Schweitzer, Edna Kurgat, Ellen Apira, and Erin Finn. Man, it's going to be some exciting events in that 5K and 3K when those individuals lock up again toward the end of the season. So, again, most of the top 3K runners haven't opened up yet. I expect within the next week or 2 or 3, the more 3K times will start rolling in as the season progresses. In the field events, we had a very impressive mark in the triple jump queen, Keturah Orji. She jumped 14.53 meters, which is 47 feet and 8 inches. She tied her overall PR, and also that ties her American record, I believe she had the American record outdoors, and she tied that mark indoors by jumping 14.53 this weekend. And so that also broke her indoor record that she set last year. So I mean, Keturah Orji in her very first jump, it wasn't even her very first meet, it was her very first jump at her very first triple jump competition this season. She goes and she ties her American outdoor record, and she breaks the NCAA collegiate record in her very first jump of the season. So Keturah Orji is the triple jump queen right now, and she's showing that she's breaking records on her very first jump. I think that's going to be a good season if she can stay healthy. I feel like she needs to be the Bowerman winner because she's been nominated 2 years in a row. She was nominated and she lost, and so with her going out there in her very first jump and breaking the NCAA record on her very first jump, I feel like she's probably going to be amongst the finalists this year in the Bowerman, and I feel like she should be your Bowerman winner because Keturah Orji is very impressive. She's been a very impressive jumper over the last few years. So we'll watch it. We'll see how that goes. But Keturah Orji, very good job this past weekend. So yeah, it was some good marks this past weekend. Like I said, it was some good marks. A lot of the schools I have now, everybody for the most part has opened up. Everybody has showed what they had. They haven't run their primary events, but a lot of schools, most of the schools have all opened up now. But within these last few weekends, and then we've had some good marks. And so we'll just continue to watch as the season progresses, and when people start getting into their primary events and people start really trying to qualify for nationals within these next few weekends, we're going to have some really good marks, and we're going to talk about it, we're going to report about it, and we're just going to be here and just having some discussions about it. So if you want to be a part of those discussions, please subscribe to the channel, please tune in, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and we'll be here talking about it as the season progresses. So thank you for tuning in to your official Track and Field Bleacher Report. I'm your host here, saying goodbye. Thank you.